Okay. The great unmasking of the Phantom of the Opera. Perhaps a lot of you have been wondering when we were going to get around to showing this great 1925 Lon Chaney Sr. film. Well, tonight's your lucky night. This is one of the grand horror entries. You cannot speak of horror without speaking of Lon Chaney, the man of a thousand faces, the man who also produced Lon Chaney Jr., the Wolfman, who in a way tried to follow his father's steps. Maybe tripped along the way sometimes, but he at least tried. Phantom of the Opera, 1925. This is one of the great Universal films, directed by, well, Rupert Julian, and co-directed, but uncredited, by Lon Chaney. Likewise, what Lon Chaney was known for, obviously, was the makeup. He was a master of makeup. And the makeup that he wore for the Phantom of the Opera was quite uncomfortable. Eric, the character he is playing, the skeletal man, the specter, if you will, who captures the opera star and takes her down into the sewers. Well, that makeup was a series of appliances and things stuck up his nose in order to create that sort of open-nostrilled look, and things that he did to his eyes and things that he jutted into his cheeks. It's a wonder this man, once he took all of these out after hours of wearing them, had any features left of his own. Of course, he did sag quite a bit in his later days. Now, Lon Chaney appeared in a lot of horror products and a lot of films that weren't necessarily would be in the horror genre. It would be in sort of jungle pics like The Road to Mandalay, for instance, or West of Zanzibar. But even in those films, he was able to ply his makeup trade. When he hooked up later with old Todd Browning with The Unholy Three, London After Midnight, and West of Zanzibar, he really hit his stride, working well with the look that God gave him and being able to, make it more hideous as he moved along in his career. You know, he was intended to play Dracula, but stricken, this is one of those ironies, stricken with throat cancer and unable to speak, and then passing away, it fell to Bela Lugosi, whether that was a boon or a bane to Lugosi. But it would have been nice to see what Chaney would have done with the vampire. In one of those lost films, London After Midnight, we do have stills and parts of his playing a vampire. And we could very much see what he would have done with that role. Would have been quite remarkable. Well, there are some scenes in here that are going to really set you on edge. The great unmasking at the organ, wonderful scene. The mask of Red Death, or the ball that he appears with the revelers, is another great scene. Well, I think you're going to enjoy this film. I know a lot of you have been waiting to see Phantom of the Opera. It's a beautiful movie. I'm not going to belabor the point. If I knew a few, lines from the Phantom of the Opera by Weber, I might break into it right now, but fortunately for all of us, I don't know any of them. And you know that there have been many other film versions of this. Most notably, probably, Claude Rains playing him later on at Universal. But nobody has beaten Lon Chaney, and it is hard to imagine anybody beating Lon Chaney. Folks, enjoy Phantom of the Opera. Roll 'em, Smokey.